Hello, everybody. I want to talk to you today about saxophone embouchure. And a saxophone embouchure or your embouchure is the way that you form your mouth around the actual mouthpiece of the saxophone. And the embouchure is probably the most important thing to really understand how to form because it affects everything when it comes to your playing. And so, what I want to do right now is show you some different principles about how to form your particular and unique embouchure. Now, the thing that is important to understand is that everybody is different. Everyone's lips are different. Everyone's teeth is different. Everyone's jaw is different. Even your what's called your oral cavity. That's the opening in your mouth. That's different, and all of those things affect the results that you get when you play. And so I don't want to just say do it like this, as if it's just a cookie cutter way that everyone should do it. But what I would like to do is give you principles that you can apply that will apply to everyone. And then you can discover and find the embouchure that really works best for you. And so that's the thing that you want to find, the embouchure that works best for you and the way your body is. Okay? And so let's talk about it. All right, so the first thing is you want to understand where the sound comes from. And so, of course, you blow into the mouthpiece and it goes through the neck and through the horn and creates sound. So we understand that. But one of the most important aspects of the embouchure is this right here. And this is the reed. Now, and I'm using a synthetic reed, a Leisure synthetic reed. But what happens with this reed is critical, is crucial. And you need to make sure that your embouchure is allowing the reed to vibrate the way it should. Okay? When you blow into the horn, the reed actually vibrates. Okay? This is what creates the sound, the vibration of the reed. So what you do not want to do is to hinder the reed from vibrating the way that it needs to. Okay? So having said that, your embouchure needs to be such that it does not put unnecessary tension on the reed. Okay? Even how you hold the actual horn is important because it can determine how much tension you're putting on the reed, which allows it to vibrate freely or not. So, for example, I have students that I have seen playing like this, trying to support the instrument, but holding it where they have a lot of tension pressing up on the reed, which actually makes the reed hindered in its ability to freely vibrate. And so you don't want to put a lot of pressure on the reed. As a matter of fact, one thing that I think is a good practice is when you put the mouthpiece in your mouth, you have more of a downward angle with your head just a little bit. Okay? Like that. Notice I'm not doing this, where I'm putting pressure up on the reed, but with my top teeth on the top of the mouthpiece, notice how I'm kind of nodding my head slightly. Now, you don't want to do it too much where you're doing that. And I've seen students do that as well. Or they're playing like that, and that's probably too much. But just a little slight nod of the head is probably good to help take some of the tension and the pressure off of the reed. Like that. Okay? And so then you also want to make sure that you're not biting up. Some people do that, where you squeeze really hard, but you're literally squeezing the reed, making it harder to vibrate. Okay? So one thing I hope you're starting to gather now is that what's happening with this reed is crucial. Okay, now let's talk about how we actually form the actual embouchure. Okay, now I'm gonna set my horn down and just do this with the neck to demonstrate. Okay, now, so we have different factors. Okay, first let's talk about the bottom lip. Okay, I'm going to teach you two different embouchures. I'm going to teach you what I consider to be a classical type embouchure that you would play, that you would use rather when you want to play more classical sounding music. I'm going to teach you an embouchure like that. And then I'm also going to teach you what I would consider to be more of a jazz embouchure when you want to play more jazzy or contemporary sounding music. Okay, so let's start with the classical embouchure first. Okay, now the classical embouchure is such that you want your bottom lip to fold over your bottom teeth. Okay, and I think a good rule of thumb is the line that separates your bottom lip from your skin is that line right there that separates your bottom lip from your skin is where your bottom lip folds over your bottom teeth, like that. Right there at that line is where your teeth are, okay? Like that. And so then what you would do is with your bottom lip like that, put the mouthpiece in your mouth, like that, okay? Now let's talk about how much of the mouthpiece you should put in your mouth, okay? If you can see my actual mouthpiece, you can see the space right there, and then the reed is connecting with the mouthpiece about right there. You can see the area or the spot where the reed and the actual mouthpiece actually touch. This is the area where you want your bottom lip to be. Not too far up this way, and even not even too far down this way. Okay? If your bottom lip is too far this way, you will hinder the reed from vibrating freely because basically your bottom lip will be pushing on it and it won't be able to freely vibrate when you blow into it. If it's too far this way, it will actually be too much vibration and you'll get a very rough and a harsh sound. So you want to find that spot where the reed and the mouthpiece connect and your bottom lip goes right there. So that way the reed can still vibrate, but it's not too much that's in your mouth, okay? So that's the thing you want to keep in mind. So like this, and you try to find this spot where the reed and the mouthpiece connect, like that. Now, with the top lip, this is what you do. You curl your top lip up like this, like that. It's like your top lip rather, curls in over your top teeth, like that. So now you have your bottom lip and your top teeth like that. And your top teeth actually sit right, it sits right on top of the actual mouthpiece itself, okay? It feels funny to some people to feel the vibration of that, but you can get used to it. And then you also can get what's called mouthpiece patches and put a mouthpiece patch on your mouthpiece so that it does not tickle or you can feel the vibration and it's a little bit more comfortable for some people. You don't have to have that, but some people prefer to do that, okay? Oh, now we have that. And then one more thing, okay? Now, what I have right here is a pouch. I put some of my saxophone materials, my neck and things in this little pouch. But this has a drawstring on it, okay? And I want you to notice what happens when I pull on this drawstring, okay? Notice what happens. You see that? How it's curving in. Okay, let me do it again. Just look at what happens when I pull the drawstring. You see that? How it's doing that? I want you to imagine your mouth having a drawstring. And what you do is pull the string, and as you pull, this is what happens. Okay, let me do it again. So it's almost like the corners of your mouth go in. Now, what that does, when the corners of your mouth go in, it also relieves more of the pressure on the bottom lip, okay? So more pressure is relieved from the bottom lip on the reed, okay? And then you put all of that together with the top teeth on the mouthpiece, top lip, curled in, bottom lip over the bottom teeth, where the little line is, the skin in your bottom lip, and the corners of your mouth go in like you're pulling a drawstring. Right there. And remember, you still can also kind of nod your head just a little bit. You don't want to do it too much because that will put tension on your larynx. Your larynx is right here, and you need your larynx to be free to vibrate as well and to move. Okay? So you don't want to slump over too much. Your head needs to be still straight. What you can kind of do that just a little bit, okay? And this is what I would consider to be like the classical type of saxophone embouchure. And for some people, it works perfectly. Okay, so it would be like this. So I would consider that to be kind of like a classical type of saxophone embouchure, okay? And so now, let me show you how to do a jazz type of embouchure, okay? Now, this would be, in some ways, the opposite approach. So, and mainly it is what you do with your bottom lip, okay? So now with the more of the jazz approach, instead of curling our bottom lip in, we're going to roll our bottom lip out, okay? So instead of like this, it's going to be now more like that, where the more fleshy part of your bottom lip is out. And what you want to try to create is a cushion with your bottom lip. Kind of like that. Real cushiony, if I could say it that way. Where you're making a soft cushion. And what that does is it allows the reed to vibrate even freer. So with the jazz embouchure, sometimes it makes the sound brighter. Sometimes it makes the horn play louder. And even could make the horn respond faster. When you blow, the air, the sound will be more immediate. And so this can happen with more of the jazz type of embouchure. And so pretty much everything else remains the same as the classical except for the bottom lip, okay? So let's demonstrate what that looks like. Okay? So instead of folding my bottom lip under or over my bottom teeth, I'm now going to roll my bottom lip out more like this. Okay? Kind of like that. And notice, instead of doing this, it's more like that. Okay? Now, in terms of the spot that you need, you experiment with it. Like I told you, everyone is different. Everyone's lips are different. Everyone's teeth are different. Everyone's jaw is different. And those things affect the results that you get when you are playing. And so you have to experiment, and you got to go for two things. Number one, what gives you the right sound? What allows you to play in tune? and then also what allows you to play all of the notes up and down the instrument, as well as what is comfortable. Now, I want to say what is comfortable last, because when you first start to do something, it may feel a little uncomfortable because you're not used to it yet. But you can eventually get used to doing it a different way, or if this is your first time playing, get used to playing this way. Okay? And you need to be comfortable so that when you're playing, you can focus on the actual music and not how you're trying to form your mouth. You need to get to the place where you don't even think about that anymore, and you're just focusing on actually playing. Okay? So we're learning these things so that we don't even have to think about them anymore. Okay? So lip rolled out, bottom lip curled in, corners of the mouth in, and then this is what it sounds like. Okay? And then I'm going to show you the difference between the classical embouchure and the jazz embouchure, so you can hear the difference in the sound. Okay? So now this would be more of the jazz embouchure. Okay, so that's more of the jazz embouchure. Now I'm going to go back and forth between the classical and the jazz so you can hear the difference between the two. Okay, so here's the jazz embouchure again. Excuse me, the classical embouchure. Okay, here's more of the jazz embouchure now. Okay, it's not a huge difference, but you can hear a difference. I think the jazz embouchure is a little louder. I think it's a little freer sounding. But the classical embouchure, I think, is easier to play in tune. And it has a more mellow sound. So it depends on what you want, what you're going for. And then again, it depends on your natural anatomy that you have. Maybe the classical embouchure may be better for you, your lips, your teeth, the way your mouth and jaw is made, or the jazz embouchure may be better for you based upon your lips, your teeth, just your physical anatomy. So experiment, try different things, and see if you can come up with a way that allows you to accomplish everything. Number one, have the right sound. It's a good sound. You can play all of the notes up and down the horn. Number three, you can play in tune. And then number four, it's comfortable for you to play. Okay? All right, I hope these things were helpful. Thank you so much for watching.